Hi everyone, in this video I'm going to show you how to do kick and snare samples without any additional plugins. I have the session up. I imported it from Pro Tools and I colorized my sections and basically that's where we're at. Let me just see here. Okay. So first thing that I want to do is I want to get some samples going with the kick and the snare so I have more flexibility when I start mixing the drums. So I will double click on this waveform and I will bring up this editor, which is the wave editor, and then I'm going to go to hit points. Hit points is over here, and I am going to increase the threshold. Let me zoom in on the waveform a little bit. Alright. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to set the threshold to show me the kicks themselves. Let me open this up a little more. Here we go. So let me hit play. You'll see what I'm doing now. So I'm getting the main kicks, but not the little... There we go. See how I'm moving the threshold and getting all the kicks now? But not the snare. So that looks about right. I'm just going to check the file really quick. But it looks like I got all the kicks, even the light ones, by adjusting the threshold of the hit points. Again, the threshold is over here. And as I go up, they're all gone, but as I come down, you'll see this is the snare drum. I mean, this is the kick drum right here, and these are the kick drums I want. I don't want this, which is the snare drum. So I'm coming down like that. I can even come down this far, but let me just see what this is over here. Yep, got it. This line indicates that it is a hit point. Now once I have this, I can do many things with this. I can split it, I can slice it, I can groove it, blah blah blah, but what I'm going to do is create a MIDI note file out of it. So you go over to create MIDI notes and hit that button. I do want it to have some dynamics, so I am going to leave it at a dynamic level. The pitch I want is C1 because it's going to be the kick. Eighth note is fine. New MIDI track, here we go, hit OK. So if you scroll down, you'll see the MIDI track is created, and if I double click, there is my MIDI track. I'm going to hit Command A to select everything here, and then I am going to move over and see I get the up and down arrow key here, and I'm going to bring everything up a little bit in velocity, just so I have a little more punch. Alright. So that's all I'm doing with that. Now I'm going to create a new instrument track, add instrument, and I use addictive drums too. I just like the way they sound. You can use any plugin that you like. You can use Superior Drummer, Slate drums. I've been using addictive drums too. So I will add that plugin. And then the next thing I'm going to do is copy this MIDI information into the addictive drums. Okay, and that all I did was select it, option, and drag. Okay, I'm going to select this now and just take a listen here. We'll go at around 55 when the kick drum starts. So that's the default drum with addictive drum. It's okay. I'm gonna go into here and listen to some other drums that I like as far as kick. So I think I'm just gonna go with this Fairfax kick drum. I really like the way that sounds. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go up to my timeline and I'm going to draw out the range of the whole track. So I am making the range of the whole track up here. That's my start, and that's my end. I'm going to come back down to this kick. Okay, just keep it selected. And I am going to go to Audio Mixdown. And I am going to select that track. Now I want everything to be the same file type, sample rate, bit depth, so I'll leave all that the same. And I'm going to go to After Export, Create Audio Track, and Insert into Pool. Let us name it, silly me. I'm going to call this Kick Sample. All right, and hit Export. So what I'm doing right now is I'm actually creating a audio file of that kick drum, so I don't have to use CPU space for the instrument. So if you come over here now, here's the kick sample. That's soloed. All right, with dynamics. And if I bring this up into my drums, and now we listen to the drums. Okay, so here's the original kick. And there's a sample. So I can go back over here, and I'm just doing this quick now, but I can blend this in. And just have more control out of that kick. So it still sounds natural, but I just have a little more, you know what. And then of course I'm going to add EQ compression. I may even set up its own bus with the 3 kicks. But let's take a mute on those and let's go to the snare, and we're going to do the same thing with the snare. So this is my snare track, top snare. So this snare drum is not my favorite sounding snare. I don't think it's being executed well. I mean, the separation is good, but the actual sound of the snare and the way it's being executed, I would have liked a little bit more consistency in the hits. It's okay. We're going to be able to use it. So double click on that. It brings me back to my waveform editor, and then I'm going to go into hit points again. And I am going to adjust the threshold. I just want to open this up a little bit. Alright, so let us adjust this threshold. Let's see here. Let's see how we're doing. I'm going to create a MIDI note track out of this. I'm going to set this to D1 because that's where the snare is. There is the, let me get rid of this so I don't get confused. We're going to just remove that. Okay, so we have our MIDI notes that were created on the snare drum. And I'm going to simply select them. So that's a side stick. I'm not going to do anything with that. In fact, I'm going to get rid of that side stick. Okay, so I'm going to just get rid of that. I don't want it. Goodbye. Okay, so I want the regular snare to come in here. So I'm going to select everything, and I am going to just bring the whole thing up again in volume a little bit, just so it's a little more happening. Alright. Now what I'm going to do is get out of this editor, and I'm going to copy the MIDI notes into the addictive drum file. There it goes. Okay. So let's go back to here where it gets kind of loud. And again, what I'm going to do is make sure my whole full range of the song is selected, which it is up here. Here's my range. And I am going to export that to a audio file. And here we go. So I'm going to mute that and that, and let's take a listen, make sure it did good with the audio. So here's my snare sample, and what's cool in Cubase is I did not need to do this with Trigger, and I'm going to tell you a little something too. I love Trigger by Stephen Slate, but I think doing it this way is actually more accurate, and it obviously you're converting it to audio, and it takes a lot less strain on the CPU, giving you more power later on for plugins and stuff like that. So that's how I do kick and snare sample inside of Cubase.